All right. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Holy Spirit. God, I like that. I love when my higher self will catch me when my ego is trying to jam me up in some kind of way. So the lessons of the Holy Spirit, I start over again. Hey, mighty companions online, mighty companions in here. We're going to be on page 103 in chapter 6, 103, the lessons of love. Chapter 6, lessons of love on page 103 in the Course in Miracles. And we're going to be using the Course in Miracles text. I love this first line. Check this first line out. It says, like any good teacher, it says, like any good teacher, the Holy Spirit knows more than you do. So, any good teacher, what would they know? More than you do. As a matter of fact, the Course would say the definition of a good teacher is that they know more than you do. So you could really say the love in you, the truth in you, knows more than you do when? Now. Say the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, the Course in Miracles says that the love in you knows more than you do now. But the Holy Spirit teaches only to make you equal with the Holy Spirit. Okay, so when you study the Course, I would suggest those of you who really are studying the Course and want to study the Course, it's much more powerful if you study the Course in a question and answer format. If you do it that way, your ego will not get you to go drifting off into outer space. Okay, let me give you an example. Like any good teacher, the Holy Spirit knows more than you know now. Then you go, okay, then what is it that a good teacher knows? A good teacher knows more than I do now. And then it says, and a good teacher is just teaching you only to make you equal to that teacher. So as a teacher, in most cases, I know I'm more familiar with most of the people that come to the Course class. I'm more familiar with the Course in Miracles than they are. Doesn't mean that we're unequal. It just means I know more about the Course in Miracles than most people who come to the class in terms of having taught it for 30-something years. There's a possibility that I might be more familiar with it than most people. Now, so what does that mean? Well, you could save yourself some time, really, because I'm really familiar with the tricks that the Course in Miracles says that the mind is going to play on you to keep from being happy, right? So what do I want to teach you? Well, then I want to teach you, any good teacher wants to teach you to make you equal. So the goal is for us to be equal in our knowledge. Our goal is to be equal in the knowledge of the love and truth of who we really are. So another term for the Holy Spirit would be love, your loving right mind, because the Course teaches that we are only experiencing love or fear, or separation or oneness. That's what we're experiencing. So, like any good teacher, love knows more than you do now. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go through this paragraph, but I'm gonna use love and fear. Because I need to feel some juice. Like any good teacher, love knows more than you do now. Like any good teacher, love knows more than you know now. But love teaches only to make you equal with it. You have already taught yourself wrongly. You've already taught yourself wrongly. Having believed what is not true, you have already taught yourself wrongly. So what was that teaching that was wrong that you've been teaching yourself? Well, let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you what it is. You did not believe in your own perfection. That's how you taught yourself wrongly. You didn't believe in how perfect you are. We have a tendency to tell ourselves there's some part of us that has real issues. So the Course says you did not believe in your own perfection. Would your Creator teach you that you have made a fearful split mind when your Creator knows your mind only as whole, only as love? Would your Creator teach you that you have a split mind? What your Creator knows is that you, the creation communication channels, are not open to it. So God, the Creator, cannot impart its joy, and know that you are wholly joyous. Take a breath a minute. So your Creator, giving your Creator's joy, your Creator giving you its joy, love giving you its joy, your Creator giving you its joy, love giving you its joy, love gives you joy. So the Creator, to the Creator, giving the Creator's joy is an ongoing process. Us receiving joy from the Creator is an ongoing process, but guess what? It's not an ongoing process in time, but it is an ongoing process in eternity. Love's God's extending outward, though not God's completeness, is blocked when we do not communicate with our Creator the joy that we are supposed to be experiencing is blocked when we don't communicate with our Creator. So the Creator thought, according to the Course, our Creator love thought, my children sleep. They're in a coma and they must be awakened. You have been asleep in fear and you must be awakened. Okay, so what did I just hear? Okay, so our Creator, love in us, is trying to teach us how to become equal in love, to become equal in love with each other. And it also says the biggest problem that we have is we don't believe in our perfection. That's how we taught ourselves wrong. We're not believing in our perfection. And then it says, would the part of us that knows us as whole and complete, would that part of us teach us that we are insane, guilty, and separate? Would love teach us that we are limited? Would love teach us that we don't deserve love? In other words, would love really teach you that you are not valuable and you are condemned and you are guilty and you are sinful? Would love really teach you something like that? Would something that really loved you really teach you something like that? The Course then goes on to say that what our Creator does know is that we're not open to love, that we're not truly open to our Creator. And then the Course says, because I'm not open to my Creator cannot give me the joy and the love and the blessings that my Creator wants to give me. Love can't give me the... Have you ever tried to love somebody that was blocking it every kind of way possible? Mm-hmm. That's what the Course in Miracles is basically saying, that which created us, everybody's complaining, many people are struggling, they're totally unhappy, but they won't open themselves up to the very things that they're upset, that they think they are not experiencing. And the Course is saying to us, what you really want is love. What you really want is joy. What you really want is happiness. And the truth is, if you're not open to your Creator, if you're not open to that which created you, which can impart that joy, then you're not going to be totally joyous. So if a person isn't happy, it's not that they're not happy because of what's going on in the outer. The Course is saying you're not happy because you're not allowing yourself to experience the communication with the love that created you so that you would know the love that you are. People are seeking what they already are. So the Course in Miracles is saying everything you're looking for is you. And in the end, you're going to realize that you've been looking everywhere except where your happiness is located, which is in you. Now, I've taught for many years, and I've found very few people who disagree with the idea that happiness comes from within. Most people always go, yeah. But then the next part of the day, they're miserable because of something they think should be happening outside of themselves that's not happening. So really, we say a lot of stuff that we really don't mean, and so we're shocked when things don't go the way we want to, because I'll say my happiness comes from within and I'll be obsessing about a relationship. I'll say happiness comes from within and then I'll be obsessing about my financial situation. or my career or something out there. So even though I'm saying happiness is from within, the truth is I have a split mind. I have a split, and that's what it means when it says, I don't want to teach you you have a split mind. You really have a whole mind, but you're just tuning into part of your mind. And that part of your mind that you're tuning into is the part of your mind that tells you a lot that you're not happy or you couldn't be happy or that you're not complete. And so the Course in Miracles is saying to us that that which created us wants to give us joy and know us as totally joyous. So the first thing I need to do is accept that that which created me only loves me and only wants me to have joy. I've got to make a decision that that is the only thing that I want to choose for myself is love. That's all I want. And I know there's a part of my mind that doesn't always choose that for me. Is there a part of your mind that doesn't always choose that for you? Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't alone in this right here. Okay, so have you some things in your mind that you've made up that you think when you get it, you're going to be happy?
Yeah.
It won't. Whatever that is, it won't. So you can save yourself a lot of time if you just go ahead and make that decision. Now, am I saying you can't be happy? No. I'm saying there's nothing you want that's going to make you happy. There is no one that's going to make you happy. Now, can I get in touch with the happiness and the love within myself and bring that into my relationship with you? Yes. I can be happy with every one of you since nothing about my happiness depends on you. So that theoretically means I could enjoy all of you because I don't need you for me to feel happy. So I could not have a grievance with you because what are grievances? Grievances are nothing but someone not acting out your script and your expectation. So therefore, if I can let go of my script for you, and because I feel whole and complete, then there's not going to be anything for me to forgive you for, because my happiness is not dependent on your behavior anyway. Is everybody with me on that? Yeah. So the Course is saying to us that love, I love how it's explaining what love is. It said, number one, if it's some love happening, there's some communication happening. So it associates love with communication. For me personally, the most important thing that I can have in a relationship is communication. Your communication is 10 times more important to me than the body is. I want to know that we are able to communicate and to extend and to join. And so the Course is saying to us, that which created us, that which loves us, is trying to give us joy, and that it's an ongoing process, but it won't look like it's an ongoing process when you're in time. When you're here, it doesn't look like joy is an ongoing process. And it also told us the reason why it doesn't look like it's an ongoing process is because we're not in direct communication with God. We're not in direct communication with our Creator. That's something that doesn't have a lot of priority for most people. It's usually the thing that they'll do when they think they've taken care of everything else. Okay, when I've done everything else, I might study, I might meditate, I might read. So the truth is, we don't communicate directly with that which created us in love, so therefore we don't experience joy consistently because we're not in communication with love consistently. Does that make sense? Okay, that's what I love about the Course in Miracles is that it says we are very sane beings who've learned very insane things, and so we think we're crazy. But he says what's crazy is what we've learned about things and the way that we are looking at things. That's what's causing the conflict. But all of us are capable of being sane if we ever heard any. Right? If I ever heard some sanity, then I'd use some sanity. Right? So the Course is saying that which created us wants to give us joy as an ongoing process that never ends. Okay? But in order for that to happen, I need to get into communication with that part of myself. And you can call it God, you can call it the Creator, you can call it higher power, you can call it the universe, you can call it the divine, you can call it all that is, you can call it the flow, you can call it the one. It doesn't matter what you call it, just since you acknowledge that there is what? Something that knows more than you do, something that has created you. You exist. And if you exist, something thought you up, because there's not a thing you can look at that wasn't first conceived as an idea. Right? Nothing in this room that you could possibly look at that you could say this was not an idea or a concept first, right? So you're sitting here, I'm sitting here, so that means something thought us up. Something wanted you to exist. Be with that for a minute. We didn't create ourselves. Because if we had, we sure would do a better job than we're doing, because we would feel like, we knew exactly what was going on. So the Course says you didn't create yourself, but you are creating the way you see things. That our creation is our point of view and our perception and our beliefs. That's what we're making up, okay? And then it says, well, how can you tell if your beliefs are valid beliefs? It will say, well, how much peace do you have? How much joy do you have? How much happiness do you have? How fearless are you? How innocent do you feel? If you're not feeling any of those things, the Course says, then your beliefs are incorrect. See, that's too simple. We need it more complicated than that. That's too simple. If I'm terrified, afraid, suspicious, jealous, upset, my belief system sucks. Then the wrong part of the mind, called the ego, says, well, the way to get out of that is what? To get someone else to be different, to get someone else to be different, to get some situation outside of yourself different, then you'll be happy. So not only am I not happy, I have a part of my mind that directs me the wrong way to alleviate my unhappiness. So I'm already miserable, then my mind says, well, you're miserable because of this circumstance, this person, and this situation. If you can get that to change, then you'll be happy. And this is telling us, no, if you want to be happy, you're having a communication problem. You need to learn how to get rid of all the blocks to being able to hear your own inner guidance that's coming from your own divine self that wants to give you joy, prosperity, and abundance. There's a part of you that knows every other part of you called another person who would be the perfect person for you to be in a relationship with if that was what you wanted. There's another part of you that knows exactly what type of physical situation in this world that would be the one that would give you the greatest joy, whether you call it your career, where you live, what you're doing. What we forget is we didn't create ourselves, and so we forget that we can communicate with that which did create us, and therefore you can be guided to everything that you could give yourself fulfillment through, which is a lot simpler, right? But what I've got to do is I've got to be willing to let go of the beliefs I've already acquired that are not bringing me the joy and the happiness that I say I want. So I'm going to have to change the way I look at things. I'm going to change the way I think. Right with me still?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then the Course in Miracles says that your Creator is always extending outward. Love is always extending outward. And whenever we don't communicate with that which created us, which is love, it says that then that joy is blocked. So when I'm unhappy, I go, okay, Earl, you're out of communication. You're not hearing. You're somehow or another blocking your guidance right now. And what is blocking my guidance? What I'm telling myself. It's the advice that I'm giving myself. That's what's blocking my guidance. I'm so busy listening to me that I'm not listening to the part of me that loves me. And the Course then says, and that which created you thought, you know what? They're dead asleep. Somebody need to wake them jokers up. You know what I'm saying? You're afraid, you're asleep. You're angry, you're asleep. You think there's lack in your life, you're asleep. You think that we're divided and separate, you're asleep. So basically the Course is saying we're asleep. So now instead of judging and condemning people, I'll just say, oh, that brother or sister is just asleep. Asleep, what do you mean? They think that they are a victim of everything they see. They've lost sight with the joy and the love that they are in their own personal power, and they're angry and upset and blaming. They're asleep. They're asleep. That sounds a lot more gentle than the stuff I used to call them. I used to just say they was asleep. I had other things I would kind of identify people as, And so any questions or any comments about that first paragraph? Brother Demola, what you got to say, man?
Hey, it just makes me think joy is communication.
Joy is communication.
Yeah.
Joy is communication. Yeah, that's when you really feel fulfilled, when you feel like somebody's getting you.
Yeah.
You're being grokked, as I call it. Yeah. I'm gonna work my way around. I'm glad everybody got something they want to say. We'll work our way around. What you got to say?
A synonym for evil is asleep.
A synonym for evil is just asleep. Yeah. Now, if you're having a nightmare and someone tries to wake you up, you may initially react to the person that's trying to wake you up as if they're part of the nightmare and reach out and smack them upside the head. Right? Okay, you be aware that the next time you're trying to wake somebody up, okay, you're trying to correct them and it's something that I've had the most attack and misperception from people that I've tried to be the most loving to. Because if they're in a fearful state, which means they're suspicious of everything, then you being loving makes them even more suspicious of you. So don't expect at first that people who are asleep are going to jump up and down with joy when you're trying to love them. Because they're asleep and they're having a nightmare. And when you grab them, they don't realize that you're trying to wake them up. They may think you're a part of the nightmare that they're having. Okay, so that's why the Course says there are 4 obstacles to peace. Obstacle number 1 is our desire to get rid of it. What's the first obstacle to peace? I'm always getting rid of my peace.
Yeah.
All right? What's the second obstacle to peace? Well, the belief that the body and the material things of the world are the things that are the most valuable. Right? And then what's the third one? Well, I'm afraid of dying. That's a pretty good obstacle to peace, right? And then he says the fourth one is the fear of God. Many of us have been taught to be afraid of that which created us and to see it as something that is condemning us if we believe it exists at all, right? So he says that's what keeps us from having peace. So what we want to do, first of all, is to give ourselves peace. That's the first. And peace means total fulfillment. Peace means complete fulfillment. Peace doesn't mean I'm just sitting in a cave somewhere contemplating my neighbor for 3 hours. You can be on the dance floor partying your butt off and be a representative of peace. Sometimes people think being spiritual means being dull. And it's not. Peace is joy. If you're sitting there and you're quiet and you're in ecstasy, then you extend in peace. If you're on the dance floor dancing your heart out with joy, you extend in peace. So peace doesn't have a form. Like that's one of the biggest challenges that I have as a teacher is going beyond what people think a teacher is supposed to be like. And you're supposed to be like you. That's what makes you a teacher. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to try to be somebody else's idea of what I should be like. Then I wouldn't be a true teacher because I want to see who you are for real. So we're going to work our way around.
Yeah, I was thinking about when you were talking about trying to change things outside of ourselves to be happy within versus changing things, having a pure desire to change things outside of ourselves because we're inspired to do so. So we're coming from love. And so I've just been kind of dwelling on that, feeling into that.
That's the easy way. I don't know about you, but I want the easy way. And that's where I think it's easier for me to change my perception than change anybody that's sitting in front of me. It just seems easier to me. Does it seem easier to you? Yeah. So why do we do it? Because every time you're angry, that's why. Do you know that?
Because we have expectations.
Yeah. So if you're ever upset, it's because there's something that you're telling yourself needs to be different in order for you to be happy. Then people say, well, what do you mean? I can get upset, and that's a good thing as far as changing things. Well, yeah, you can get upset, but I can change things peacefully. I don't necessarily have to be mad to do what's right. Right? Yeah.
And then also, just to tag on that, I feel like some things that I desire in my life, material things or changes in how my life rolls, can be very good for me. It depends on where I'm coming from, right? In desiring those.
Exactly. And in this paragraph, it's saying Well, if I really want to be happy, I need to tap into a part of me that knows more than I know. I need to stop teaching myself that I'm not whole and complete. I need to allow my Creator to impart His joy by learning how to communicate with my Creator, and not communicating with my Creator is what's causing my lack of happiness. See, that's what I mean when I said hardcore course. See, hardcore course is when you get to the point that you could say back to yourself basically what it was saying, whether you agree with it or not. Where our ego will tell us it's about hearing this and then analyzing it and then trying to put it into our belief system. But the truth is, if I could walk away from here today knowing that if I would allow myself to get rid of communication blocks, I wouldn't have any problems, and I just have joy. And I need to start wanting to connect with teachers who know more than I do, but who want me to also be equal to them in love and in knowledge. I need to walk away from here knowing my Creator would never condemn me and would never make me sacrifice and would never judge me. See, that's what I need to walk away from in order to allow the joy that the Course is promising. And if you will notice, none of that had anything to do with the way we've been taught happiness happens. Think about it. Nothing that I said was what we've been traditionally taught brings happiness. So therefore, going unconscious happens because we're hearing an answer that's different from the one we made up for ourselves. And so the Course teaches, when I tell you something that's opposite to what you've decided is the answer, then a person doesn't see the relevance of the answer, so they tune out. Yeah. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. If I've decided that you are the key to my happiness, and then I read a book that says, no, you need to communicate with God, that's your problem, you're not communicating with your Creator, that's not going to juice me up as much as I expected. What I expected was the guidance to tell me how to get you. You see what I mean? I expected the guidance to tell me how to get this job. I didn't expect the guidance to say, well, the job is never going to make you happy. Right. I didn't expect guidance to tell me, no, your problem is that you're not in communication with that which created you. You know, that wasn't what, that's why it might work. It might work because it's not me doing what everybody else is trying to do. I've been blessed in this lifetime through practicing this kind of stuff when I was in my early 20s to have manifested everything I thought I wanted and was not happy. Yeah. So I know that's true. Yeah. The Course teaches that everything in the world is neutral and you give it the meaning that it has. So there's no situation in the world that's inherently happy. It's the meaning I'm going to give to it that's going to make it happen. That's what I meant when I said you could manifest everything and still not be happy, because if I'm not happy, I'm going to make myself unhappy in any situation that I'm in, right? So I want to walk away from here going, what is it that I can do to get rid of every block in communication between me and my source? And I want to join with people who also have that same goal so we can try to do it together. Because we move a lot faster when we don't feel like we're alone in what we're trying to do. But while we're moving together, we've got to not be trying to change each other to make each other happy. We have to just be focusing on our goal of happiness together. That's not going to be me and you. It's not going to be us sitting around debating our ideas and concepts, because there is as many different ways of seeing things as there are people in existence. So it's not about my perception versus your perception. It's about how can we take our different perceptions and all steer those perceptions toward us all remembering love and all of us having joy. So each one of us could have our own unique input about how we could accomplish that together. It's everything. It's bloops, it's puppies, it's everything. So that's okay. It's all the call for love. It's all the call for love. That's okay. That's all. We're all joining. So it's not about us getting into who's right and who's wrong in their perception. It's really about how can we use our individual perceptions to help all of us move toward the same goal. And that's how you have harmony with people who appear to be different from you. All you have to do is have the same purpose, and you can get along with anybody, no matter how different their personality seems to be from yours. So really, relationships are not complicated. They just require me taking responsibility for my own happiness.
Yeah.
If you can't have a hard relationship with somebody that y'all are both taking responsibility for your own happiness. People who are having trouble in relationships are always expecting the other one to change in some way in order for them to be happy.
That's the key to all of it, is not having expectations of others.
Right, that's one of those statements that go right along with happiness comes from within that we don't ever do. You know what I'm saying?
You can't get upset if you haven't got any expectations.
It made sense to everybody in here, and before 6 o'clock, you would be doing it again.
Yeah.
You know, if it's nothing but, if it was a little bit warmer, if the traffic was not so heavy. Yeah, we do it all the time. It's so unconscious that we don't even realize how much we're doing it, you know. I'm going to work my way around. Anybody
Oh,
else?
I got one more thing to say.
Yes.
One thing I've learned is we all want to see change. We want things different. I've learned that I have to be the change that I want to see. In other words, I have to set the example myself of the change that I want to see.
That's right. That's right.
And
The course teaches
that's
that.
what I try to do.
Well, I like you. Because you'll be easy for me to get along with. Those are I'm telling you, watch the people you allow to be in your inner circle. Do not let people in your inner circle that you all are not lifting each other up. Because those are going to be the people that you are most allowing yourself to be influenced by. It's not going to be the people you don't know. It's going to be your inner circle that you're hanging out with that's going to have the biggest impact on your self-image besides yourself. And you might not, it may look like you can't choose your parents. It may look like you didn't choose your siblings, but you definitely choose your friends. You choose the people you hang out with. That relationship right now is making you want to jump off the top of a building. You were the one who gave them your phone number. So that relationship didn't just happen to you. You said, call me. Call me. Now we can get in our lessons really quickly, right? We could just shoot the number to the phone without even having to take out, anything now, right? We get our lessons quick now.
Fast and furious.
Yeah.
I like the idea of kind of reading this thing backwards, just because if I know I'm not joyous, and then it describes how God gives joy, which is that it's ongoing,
right?
That it's always extended outward, and that it's always through completeness, because it's saying that the completeness is not blocked.
That's right.
And so that means if I want to experience joy and I want to experience love, I want to try to give joy and love like God does, who's a teacher that's greater than me, right? So I don't know how to do that, which is why I'm not joyous.
That's
and
right.
So what I need to do is I need to turn to, teachings or a curriculum or something that's, greater than myself to teach me a way to give joy, like an ongoing process that's not in time, but that's in eternity, that extends outward through my own completeness, and that is all about communication.
Exactly. The course just makes just as much sense when you read it backwards as forward. That's one of the things and what that paragraph did was that it described, like you said, it describes how love operates. So if I say I love you, then what I'm saying is I'm going to teach you and support your perfection. I'm not going to teach you that you're crazy. I'm going to know you as a whole and complete being if I love you. Communication is going to be the most important thing in the relationship if I love you. I'm going to want to give joy in this relationship as an ongoing process. I'm going to know that if I'm not allowing that joy to come through, I'll feel blocked, and I'm feeling blocked when I feel like there's no true joining and communication going on between us, which means I'm asleep. And so what's the purpose of a true relationship? To help you wake up. To help. It's not to make sure you have somebody to go out with on Saturday night.
What about movies?
You can movies either.
Movies.
But you can do all of those things and enjoy all of those things. Can you imagine how much you would enjoy going to a movie with someone you loved?
Oh my goodness.
Could you imagine how much you would enjoy anything you were doing if love was at the center of it? So this path is not asking you to sacrifice anything. It's just saying be conscious of what your purpose is in everything you do. because that's what you're going to experience always is your purpose. The Course says any situation doesn't have any more meaning than the purpose you give it. And that purpose is meaning. If I want to know what the meaning of our relationship is, I need to ask myself the purpose of our relationship. And if I know the purpose of our relationship, then I know the meaning. Like our purpose was to come together to hear this today, so that's the meaning of what's happening right now. See, so you want to know what something means? So when people are in relationships that seem meaningless, that's the same as saying, I'm in a relationship that seems like it doesn't have any real purpose. That's why most of the time, when you go out with each other for a certain period of time, and you hang with somebody a certain period of time, you get the inevitable question, where's this going? Men are very familiar with that question. It comes up after a while. It's like, okay, now we've been going on for a while, where's this going? So women tend to bring relationships back to purpose really, really quick in one way or another, especially if there's any kind of physical intimacy involved on any ongoing basis. It'd be like, what's this about? Where is this going? That's right. Okay. Okay, let's take the next paragraph. That was good. We did that one up. Anybody over here on this side? Yeah.
I'm just astounded once again at how simplified my life just got by listening to the course, because communication is love.
Communication is love.
Everything we do is love. It's always back to it's either love or a call for love. Because as somebody who teaches communication, I'm always going, well, what do I do? Well, what do you do? Like, oh, I teach this. I teach love.
That's right.
And it just dawned on me that that's our purpose, is to be the conduit for love, the conduit for source. So my life just got simplified by being here.
And don't forget, a teacher is a demonstrator.
Yeah.
A teacher is a demonstrator. He's not just saying it. The teacher is somebody that's demonstrating it. So how do I know somebody loves me? They're not trying to limit me. That's a demonstration. They're supporting my perfection and completion. That's a demonstration. We laugh a lot. That's a demonstration. So I'm looking for demonstration. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, right? Right? It's so easy to say, I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to say any of it. And saying it is a stage. It is important at first to state your purpose. But readiness is not mastery. Just because I'm ready to love y'all 100%, don't y'all make the mistake of thinking I do.
I'm not gonna do it. That's my script for you. You gotta be perfect at it.
I know. I'm perfectly imperfect.
Jerry. I like what he says in your answer, but truth is in living.
Truth is in living. Did you know you exist? Think about that. Man, that's deep. Where did you come from? Where did we come from? What thought us up? It'd be cruel to think me up and just drop me here. And then go, all right, fend for yourself as best you can. Just try to make it. There's no plan for your life. The only plan is that you wander in to wander out. I don't believe that. And the Course tells me, brother, there's a divine plan for your life. If you follow the divine plan, you'll have unlimited joy. You're not having unlimited joy because you're not fulfilling your function. Fulfilling your function means staying conscious and awake in the world. What does that mean? It means you recognize that you're not a victim. You recognize that you're perceiving the results of your own thinking. You recognize that you're one with everybody, whether they realize it or not, and that you're connected to your source, and your job is to be joyful, to show that it's possible to be joyful here. So it doesn't matter what you're doing in the world. Your divine plan is the content and the attitude you have while you're doing it. So if you want to be an artist that's conscious and loving. If you want to work on a rail, it doesn't matter what we come up with as far as the physical thing we want to do. The divine plan is that we do it with joy. And which will happen if we stop listening to the programming we got from a fear-based world.
So today's lesson, I started over, I think I'm on number 9 or 10 or something, and it was like, nothing that you're thinking makes any sense.
Nothing I see means anything.
Oh my God, really? Wow.
Yeah, nothing I see means anything. You talking about that one?
Whatever, 9 or 10, does it mean anything?
Now, meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. But when it says that, it means that you're the one that's giving it all the meaning that it has. You know, that it doesn't mean, I don't mean anything to you all until you give me meaning. That's all it's saying. That's all it means. When it says it doesn't mean anything, it just means it doesn't have any meaning for you until you give it meaning. And so everything that's making you happy or unhappy is based on the meaning that you're given. And I say that over and over and over and over and over again because that's more of a key to happiness than trying to tell you how you can change or get something to be happy. You know, the meaning I give to this is that I treasure it, and that it's very important and it's very helpful, and seeing you is such a blessing in my life. I'm giving it that meaning. I'm thrilled to be here with you. Any one of you may have another meaning you get. I don't like it, I do like it, I'm bored, I'm not bored, I'm confused. But we're all giving our own meaning to this moment. Think about that. So reality is beyond the meanings we're giving everything. See, you on the other side of my belief about you. That's where you're located. You're on the other side of what I'm telling myself about you right now. So we're actually having to learn to see beyond our perceptions, that thrills me. I don't even know what y'all look like, who you really are. All I know is what I'm making up about you right now. And then I'm dealing with you as if you're the way I'm making you up to be. That's really a trip when you think about it. That's what we do all day long. And then somebody we're attracted to is usually someone we think can meet a need we think we have. That's why we single them out as opposed to anybody else.
Unfocused attention.
Yeah. Why am I singling you out as opposed to everybody else in the room? Obviously, there's some need I think I have that I think you could fulfill. And so I've assigned that role to you. Is you're supposed to fulfill me now. I'll call you my fantasy.
So how do we change that?
You know, it's to realize that that's not your function. Your function is not to make me happy. Our function is to remind each other that we have a completion and a perfection and a divinity and a love and a value that's beyond words. That's what our function is, to not let us go back to sleep. And in the process, you might go to Paris.
So more or less make a conscious effort, the person that you're attracted to decide what attracts you, whether it's they've got something you're lacking, or whether you respect them for who they are and what they have and what you have in common.
That's right. The Course in Miracles says that usually when we're attracted to people, it's the next person we think that could restore our wounded self-esteem. And especially if we just come out of a relationship that didn't end well. It's the next relationship is supposed to make up for what I didn't receive in the other one. So we're really not dealing with the person that we're with now. We're really dealing with the person that used to be there. So the Course says we are constantly trying to join with our fantasies in uninterrupted bliss. See, I want you to act out my fantasy. And if you think different from my fantasy, I gotta get you out of the relationship so I can interact with my fantasy. So I got this fantasy of what I want to do with you, and you go, I really don't want to do that with you. Well, get you out of the way then. I want to be with my fantasy. I want to be with what I've made up is going to make me happy. That's what you're for. You're to fulfill my needs, my fantasy. I'm not really dealing with you. And so the Course is saying to us, no, want to be a channel for the joy of life and the joy of God and the joy of truth to come through you. That's what you're here for. You're here to let love come through you into this world that needs it badly. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So those of you online, Latasha, what you said? You are on the other side of my perception. That's right, baby. I'm on the other side of your perception, baby. I am. If you see anything other than perfection, you're looking at something you're making up. When you really see me, you go, damn, he's whole and complete. That's right, he's perfect. That's what I'm talking about. The Course says, and if you see each other correctly, you will scarcely be able to not fall down on your knees and crying tears of joy because what you see is so beautiful to you. That if we're not seeing each other that way, we're just seeing our story. Right? Okay, so let's look at paragraph 2. So let's say, let's see what the next one is. I love how you all are doing your thing online. Y'all saying some cool stuff. What about that thing about somebody's going to restore your wounded self-esteem? Sometimes he says that we get attracted to people because they remind us of somebody from the past or something about our past. Somebody's got to make up for what I went through in the past. And so I have to ask myself, so whenever I'm attracted to somebody, I try to remember to do what the Course in Miracles told me to do, which is to ask myself, what's the purpose? What is it for? Well, okay, you're attracted to this person. What for? And if you do that, you know instantly. Especially if you haven't said anything to them, you know it's something about their body or their situation you're attracted to or your own fantasy. Because you haven't even had a conversation with me. Yet you're going, oh, I'm so attracted to you. Well, why? You don't even know. I could be a serial killer. I killed a box of Cheerios just the other day. So, you don't know what you're messing with, you know.
Cheerio killer.
I'm a Cheerio killer. All right, here we go. Let's see here. Let's do the next paragraph before we run out here and make some more guilt. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Got to have a little jam. Yeah. This next paragraph is going to tell you exactly how Spirit is going to wake us up. In this next paragraph, we're going to hear exactly how it happens. So, how can you wake children in a more kindly way? How can we be awakened in a more kindly way? How can you wake children in a more kindly way than by a gentle voice that will not frighten them? So how is God going to wake us up? Through a gentle, loving voice that doesn't frighten us. See, you having a nightmare, I want to say this to you. Wake up. Wake up. It's okay. It's okay. You're safe. See, love wakes you up in a voice that doesn't frighten you. So how does the Holy Spirit, the divine, wake us up? It doesn't frighten us. It just merely reminds the child that the night is over and the light has come. The light has come. You do not inform the children that the nightmares that frighten them so badly are not real. That's a very important statement. If a person is asleep and in fear, you don't tell them their nightmare isn't real. You don't say, that's an illusion. It's not real. The Course in Miracles says you don't do that because children believe in magic. Children believe in fear. Children believe in magic. So what do? You merely reassure them that they are safe now. What I let you know is you are safe now. Love says you are safe now. Love reminds you you are safe now. Then you train the children to recognize the difference between sleeping and waking. And that's what the Course is doing. It's saying, I'm going to teach y'all the difference between what's true and what's not. I'm going to teach you the difference between love and fear. I'm going to teach you the difference between oneness and separation. I'm going to teach you when you're really getting in touch and experiencing love and when you're experiencing something that's not love. You train them to recognize the difference between sleeping and waking so the children will understand they need not be afraid of dreams. You don't have to be afraid of your dreams. So when bad dreams come, the children themselves can call on the light to dispel the bad dreams. That paragraph is just revealed to us the entire process that the Course in Miracles is teaching. Let me say it another way. It'll make total sense. Okay, we're asleep. We don't always know we're loving. We've forgotten the truth. The Course says, well, how is Spirit going to wake us up? He says, well, first of all, you're gentle, and it's going to be a gentle voice that doesn't frighten me. So how do I know when it's my ego talking to me and when it's God and love talking to me? It's going to be gentle, and it's not going to be something that's trying to scare the hell out of me. So if somebody loves me, they're what? They're being gentle and they're not trying to scare the hell out of me. Right? Then the next sentence says, what would the loving voice do? I would just remind you that your fear is over and that the light and the love has come. I know you've been afraid, but I love you. I know you've been afraid, but I'm safe for you. I know you've been afraid, but I'm here for you. Then it says, you don't inform them that the nightmares that frighten them so badly isn't real. So you don't go, oh, that's just not real. Your fear isn't real. Your fear isn't real. No, they believe it's real. And as a matter of fact, you'll make them go deeper into their fear. Sometimes I've seen people defend their guilt the most when I told them they were innocent. I stopped telling people they were innocent because I would watch them defend so much against that idea that I was actually making them focus on the idea that they're guilty more. You know, if you don't love yourself and I say you're a beautiful person, you're going to try to tell me all the reasons why that's not true. So I don't inform you that your misperception isn't real. What I do is remind you that you are what? You are safe now. The truth has come. The love has come. Then it says the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to be reassured that we are safe right now. I don't care what you've been dreaming. I don't care what kind of nightmare you've been having. Right here, right now, you're safe. I don't care what you went through before you came into this room or what you might be going through in your life. In this moment, right here, you're safe. Then he says the next thing that's going to happen is then you train the person that's been afraid to recognize the difference between what's true and what's not, and when they're asleep and when they're awake. You see, I don't know sometimes when I'm actually dealing with what's true and when I'm not. So I need to know what love is and what love is not. The Course says we make the mistake of mixing the two. We'll say, I love you, and my love for you has a lot of anger in it and a lot of guilt in it, and I got all these grievances because I love you, and I'm angry with you because I love you. Okay, so what you're saying is love contains anger, and then you're going to turn around and say anger contains love, so you really are not separating the two at all. You got to make a hardcore decision. It goes something like this. Love will never attack me, and I'm not going to compromise about that. No more of that you attacking me and you love me stuff.
Nope.
Only love is without attack, it's peaceful, it's joyous, it's supportive, it never lets you forget how complete and how safe you are. So I need to know the difference between when I'm hearing truly loving thoughts and when I'm hearing things that's not true and that's not loving. Because if I know the difference between them, then I'll choose for the love. But there have been many times in my life I thought I was entering a loving relationship and I found out it wasn't at all. Because they say something like, God, I love you so much I just stay jealous all the time. See, now I know when someone says that, they're saying, I feel jealous. I have a lot of fear about you all the time. See, I don't take that now as, oh my God, she's losing her mind. She must really be into me. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Now I know where there's anger and fear and guilt and grievances and attack, that's fear. That person isn't loving me. They're actually afraid of me. If you can't let me out of your sight, it isn't because you love me. It's because you're afraid of me. And you're afraid about me. See, the Course has taught me that. If I'm talking to someone and they're still blaming their past relationship for what they're going through right now, then I know that the truth is they haven't healed their mind yet. And they still have a lot of grievances, and they might also project that on me. Because now the Course has taught me how to recognize when forgiveness has happened, which means you released it, and when you're still holding the grievance, which means you're still talking about what happened to you 20 years ago. But if a person who's in love, they're now oriented. They're not talking about the past. They're 100% present with you right now because this moment is so full that they can't think about anything else. How do I know if somebody's forgiven me? The Course taught me, how happy are they when they're around you? If people are happy when they're with you, they've forgiven you. It's just that simple. If I'm happy around you, I don't think you're doing anything to hurt me. Well, what about the opposite? Well, if you're around a bunch of people who are always sad and miserable, then you are around people who have a lot of grievances and who have not forgiven. So people who haven't forgiven are depressed and unhappy and miserable. And people who have forgiven are peaceful and joyful. See, that's too simple. Because if I'm unhappy and I have the ability to change that from within myself, but I'm not doing it, I'm obviously still seeing somebody else is responsible for making me happy. And I'm obviously still blaming something or somebody from the past that's keeping me from being happy now. So I'm caught up in the past. So if I go out with somebody and all they're doing is talking about what everybody else has done to them, as if they're a victim of everything, I know instantly that I'm going to be added to that list at some point if I don't fulfill their script. They may not be doing it right now because they are having the initial fantasy that I'm going to be the one that fulfills them and makes them happy. And that's why they're so glad to see me. Oh, I couldn't wait for you to get here because you're going to make me happy. And I couldn't wait till you get here to start doing it. Right? And then I find out you don't do it the way I want you to do it, then we're going to talk about this. We're going to have to process through this. You know. So now I can talk to a person 15 minutes, and it's pretty clear to me how deeply involved I should get with them. It doesn't take long at all. And when you decide you're going to have that joy that only God can import on us, then the Spirit is not going to let you enter into relationships that are not going to give you joy. So it will look like your relationships are breaking up faster than ever before at first. It's like you've asked love to come in to give you something joyous and beautiful, yet you're using your own wounded picker and chooser to choose the next person, right? And then you've already asked the universe to only steer to you loving experiences, and you're making some of your old choices from old patterns. Those relationships are going to end very quickly. And then your ego is going to say, see, you got into the truth, and now you're not even having relationships 3 weeks. And the truth is, you got into the truth, and it's not letting you hurt yourself anymore the way you used to.
Yes, that's a good way to say it.
But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what, because if you were the one choosing all of your relationships and they really turned out really poorly, then the next time you are attracted to somebody, you should be suspect. Right? The mere fact that you are attracted to them should be your first warning. Right? The relationship that will probably last the longest and to be the most loving will probably be the one where there wasn't a whole lot of explosions when you first met the person. And it kind of developed over a period of time. Not the ones that as soon as you see them, that's not the one. That's not the one. I'm telling you. The best relationships I've ever had were the ones I didn't expect. It's very seldom been the one that I went, oh, I think I like her. I think we're going to see if we can hook up. Those are usually the ones that I got hooked. It really was a hookup. I was dangling from a hook. So in this paragraph, it's telling us that number one, when God or love is in charge, it's going to be gentle. It's not going to frighten you. It's going to remind you that the truth and love is here. They're not going to be telling you how unreal what you're upset about is. They're going to be reassuring you that no matter what you're going through right now, you are safe. And they're going to be a part of teaching you how to tell the difference between love and fear so that you yourself will get to the point that whenever you are afraid, you can call on God and call on the truth for yourself. You won't even feel like you need any other intermediary to help you do that. You'll be in direct relationship with your source. And the Course says, I'll call on the truth to dispel my fears. What does that mean? I'm frightened, I'm upset. Let me see what the Course says I should do about that. See, I'm calling on the truth for myself now, where I used to get on the phone and call my friend. Right? Now I'm going to the truth. Oh, okay. Love would never attack me. You're attacking me. This isn't love right now. And so until we get back to love, I'm not moving into this. I am not going to respond to attack. You're going to have to deal with me some other way than attacking me to get me to listen to you. When you stop attacking me, we'll talk. That's what a person who loves themselves will drive a person who doesn't love themselves bananas. Because a person who loves themselves won't put up with your stuff. They just won't put up with it. And that just freaks people out when they're used to using guilt and anger to manipulate people. And they try to use it on you, and you go, oh no. The mere fact that you're trying to make me feel guilty means I'm not coming an inch closer to you. And I'm not going to do anything you want me to do as long as you're attacking me. And they'll escalate to see if that's going to make you give in. And if you still don't give in, then they stop. Or they move to somebody who feels so guilty themselves that they'll respond to the guilt and the attack. Because I can remember being in relationships that it looked like the person would do what I wanted them to do after I got really angry and went off on them. And then they would go, okay, all right, I'm going to do better. See? But when you do that to a loving person, they just go.
Are you done yet?
It just don't work. And what happens is that people who need to operate that way, they are not attracted to you anymore. And that's another thing your ego will say. You got into the truth, and it looks like people are not attracted to you the way they used to be. And you could say, no, you got into the truth, and insane people are not attracted to you the way they used to be. And so then you have to be patient while you're in that transition until you start drawing the people to you who are as sane as you are, and people who get turned on by sanity, where when you were dealing with fear-based people, they're only turned on by how much you will be willing to change in order to make them happy. Have you ever wanted somebody to change to make you happy? Okay, that's why we need to forgive other people who are doing it, because then we will be forgiving ourselves for doing the same thing. The Course says you see only the past. And I said, well, he says, you're just seeing your past. Everything you see is your own past. You used to get angry. You used to project. You didn't know the truth. You thought you were separate. He said, all you're seeing in the world is the way you still may be from time to time. But definitely you're looking at your past. So that's why you wouldn't be condemning them, because you know you would be condemning yourself. So when I still see people acting crazy, I just go, oh, I see only the past in that. Right? Which is cool. So are we going to? So I love it. It says a wise teacher teaches through approach, not avoidance. So if you're going to be a wise teacher, I'm going to tell you what you should approach. I'm not going to keep telling you what you should avoid. I'm not going to emphasize what you must avoid to escape from harm. What a loving teacher does is they tell you what you need to learn to be happy. So I'm not going to tell you need to avoid this and you need to avoid that. I'm going to tell you what you should move toward, not what you should avoid. Okay? Then the Course says, consider the fear and confusion a child will experience if the child were told, don't do this because it will hurt you and make you unsafe. But if you do that instead, you will escape from harm and be safe. And then you won't be afraid. He says it's better just to use 3 words. Do only that. Just do this. Yeah, just do this. So a wise teacher is never telling you what to avoid. They're just telling you what to do that will give you what you want. See, so what do? I treat you lovingly and I treat you peacefully and I take responsibility for my experience. I'm not worried about what I need to avoid about you all. The only thing I'm focusing in on is what I need to do with you all. Because if I love you, everything else is going to take care of itself. I either repel you or we'll join. I'll either repel you or we'll join. I used to seek out the people I had the most conflict with and not spend a lot of time with the people that I enjoyed, because I thought my spiritual work was to constantly work on the people that I didn't love or had conflicted with, because the people who were being nice to me, they're handled, you see, because they're easy to get along with. So I'm not going to give them a whole lot of my attention. So I'm going to focus on everybody who seems like they're upsetting me. But you see how that's not a smart move? That means most of the time you're dealing with people you don't get along with, trying to get along with them. What you do is you be with the people that you love, and it fills you with so much love that you don't even allow yourself to be affected anymore in a negative way by the people that you appear not to get along with. They can't have any effect on your peace anymore because your life is so full of love. You're supposed to be like an overflowing glass. You know, if my glass is always full and all of the liquid is pouring over the side of the glass and everybody is drinking that, I'm still full and I'm nourishing everybody.
Yes, God.
You follow that picture? That's what we're supposed to be so full that we're never empty, but we're overflowing so everybody else is being fed who needs to be fed. But the Course said the way we do it is we have an empty glass thinking that we're going to fill up somebody else's, or we have an empty glass expecting them to fill it up. Instead of going, I'm holding complete, I'm overflowing with love, I'm just dripping all over all of y'all.
Drip, drip, drip.
Drip. See, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. And so it says the Holy Spirit, which is love, never itemizes errors. Okay, so somebody that loves me, they're not itemizing everything that they say I've done to upset them. Now don't feel guilty when you find out you're doing all the wrong stuff or that you have, because we all have. So don't beat yourself up when you know you just itemized some errors just this morning, right? And then it says, the love doesn't frighten children. So love doesn't frighten children, doesn't frighten you. And the Course in Miracles definition of children is those who lack wisdom. So when the Course says be you a child, it's not talking about a chronological age. It's talking about a person that lacks wisdom, which where you don't know what's going on is where you are a child. So wherever in your life right now that you have no idea what's going on, that's what it means be as a little child. See yourself as a little child who needs to be taught by someone who knows more than you. So whatever area of your life that you're the most unhappy in, say that's the area of my life that I'm being a child in and not in a negative way. So when I say you're being a child, that's not derogatory. When I say you're being a child, that's to prompt you to go, you know, I may not know and I'm willing to be taught. Okay, so you know, each and every one of you, including those of you online, Kelly, you all know the area that you're still being as a child in. It's wherever the area is that you're most frightened in or that you don't feel peace in. That's the area you need to ask for guidance, because you should be as a little child. And then remember, when you get your guidance, it will be guidance that tells you what to do, not what to avoid. It'll be a guidance that's gentle and doesn't frighten you. It'll be a guidance that's reminding you of the light and the truth about you. It'll be a guidance that's not condemning you for what you're going through. It'll be a guidance that's reassuring you that you're safe right now. It'll be a guidance that's training you the truth and the illusion of what's true or what's not true about that situation. It will be a guidance that will be encouraging you to get so in touch with your own power that you don't even need the guidance outside of yourself anymore, as well as inside, because you'll be it. So the Course is telling me exactly how to tell when love is talking to me and when what's not love is talking to me. And then it says, last paragraph of this section, it says, yet love will always answer your call, and love's dependability makes you more certain. So if someone is loving me and we are expressing love with each other, the longer I'm in the relationship with you, the more I know I can depend on the love that we have. So it's not like the longer I'm with you, the more I fear you and I'm insecure with you. It's the longer I'm with you, the more solid the connection becomes. So love creates dependability and consistency. So love is consistent. Fear is inconsistent. So someone who's telling me that they love me, but they're inconsistent, I know they don't truly love me yet. And I know there's some communication that needs to happen because there's some block. And the only block is communication, because if it's a real relationship, we were told love imparts ongoing joy. So even if we do have some issues come up, we'll know, oh, the problem is we're not communicating and we're not clear about what the purpose of this is. So we need to go back to what are we in this for? What is the purpose? And also in relationships, you should say at the very beginning when some issue comes up, say to the other person, do you want to join or do you want to separate? Because if you all want to join, you will work through whatever has come up. If you want to separate, it will look like there's no solution. That's how you can tell you no longer want to be together. You'll say there is no solution. because you want to separate. But if I want to be with you and I really want to be in a loving relationship with you, then whatever comes up, we will be able to go past it because we want to. I've said in my classes often in counseling with couples, I've never seen a more depressed couple than when I showed them how they could stay together. Seriously. You would think they would jump up and down with, oh man, you just giving us away the weekend. They'd be like, oh Lord, I wanted to be able to say we came to counseling and it still didn't work out. You know? Or some people that go, man, thank you, because we really care about each other and we're glad that we can get past this. And we're gonna do this, right, darling? Yeah, Earl, and let's have another session in a couple. I can tell the ones who want to join and the ones who want to separate. And that's true of any area. You know, wherever you look at it, and in any situation, you're saying this is an impossible situation, it's a situation you no longer want to be in. And so you're making it impossible so that you can leave it. And you're innocent if you do that. You know why? Because whatever the lesson is that you need to learn, it will come to you in another form. And sometimes I'd rather that happen. You know what I mean? I might have to learn about relationships, but I might have learned as much as I want to learn with you. Right? And then some people I go, oh, I'm ready to hang in there even longer. And it's okay if you stay, and it's okay if you go, because you're still going to get the lesson. So there's no law that says you have to stick in a miserable situation. Because I heard people say, you know, well, I just want to stay in this miserable situation because I know I got to learn the lesson sooner or later. So I guess we'll learn it here. Well, great. If you really mean that from a place of you're inspired, that's great. But if you know you really are so blocked in that situation and that you're so fixed in your perception that you know right now you just can't change your mind, it might be best to separate to heal. So you know, it might be necessary to take my. I've healed relationships the fastest when I was most upset by getting off from the situation sometimes and getting away from the person or the situation so I could see it clearly. So separation doesn't mean, don't separate doesn't mean don't necessarily separate your body. Separation is a purpose. You know, I'm not going to separate from you means I really want to join with you, and I'm going to try to keep that uppermost in my mind even if our bodies are not together. I want to see you in a peaceful way. See, that's what we're talking about. You know, because sometimes you can be with people and be separate. Your bodies can be right there next to each other and you can be a million miles away from each other. And there's some people, your bodies are not around each other very much and you always feel connected to them. Yes. As if there's no space between you, right? So at the end it says, the Holy children do confuse, I love this, children do confuse fantasy and reality. And children are frightened when they don't know the difference between what's true and what's not. So the course is saying when you're frightened, it's because you're in a situation that you don't know the truth of that situation. Okay? And then it also says love makes no distinction among dreams. Love makes no distinction among dreams. So if I'm loving you, I'm not going to make any distinctions about your fears. No matter what you are afraid about, no matter what you are upset about, love wants to heal that. So love isn't caught up in the form of what you're going through because love is going to try to love you through whatever you're going through. Mm-hmm. Fear-based people only respond to certain expressions of fear. A love-based person is one that wants to be a channel for love no matter what your fear is about. Then we're down to the last two sentences. It says, love doesn't make any distinction. Love just shines all your fears away. So God is going to get rid of every fear that we have. God isn't picking and choosing what fear or upset you have that deserves to be healed. He says love is going to heal any fear, any separation that you have, right? Yes. If I love you, I'm going to love you no matter what your fears are. Mm-hmm. Then the Course in Miracles says, God's light, the Holy Spirit's light, is always the call to wake up, whatever you've been dreaming. So what is love going to say to you? Wake up. I don't care what your fear is. Wake up to the fact that you're whole, you're complete, you're loved, you're not alone, you're safe now. So love responds by waking you up from the nightmare and misperception that you're having. So he's teaching me again. Somebody that's loving me is going to want me to wake up and know that I'm saved. They're not going to be attacking me, condemning me, and judging me. Then it goes on to say, nothing lasting lies in dreams. So how do you know when you're dealing with the fear? How do you know when you're dealing with something that's not real? What's not real never lasts. So real love never ends. Real love never ends. Last sentence. Nothing lasting lasts in dreams, and the Holy Spirit, the love in you, the truth in you, the God in you, shining with the light, the Holy Spirit shining with the light, shining with the love from God, speaks only for what lasts forever. So love only speaks in terms of permanence and eternity and what never ends. So when you're dealing with love, you're dealing with something that you can count on forever, that never ends and only expands. And that's how you can tell the difference between love and what's not love. What's not love doesn't last. What is love always lasts. The reason why I don't know that love is always there is because there's a block in communication and joining. And so the only problem I have is a communication problem. So I have to just ask the Holy Spirit to help me remove all the blocks to the awareness of love. And that's how it works. Real, like you said online, Kim, real love never ends. So, mighty companions, thank you for hearing that much. That was a powerful section. So we'll do the financial expression of appreciation right now, and before we complete this in 1 minute or so. Thank you. Holy Spirits, those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to Earl Purdy, PURDY.com, and I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, so you can find out what the divine plan of your life and how to get rid of the blocks to the love that this is talking about. Go to my website, EarlPurdy.com, and you can book a session with me right there on the website. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. I do an incredible Facebook Live class called The Way of Mastery. Those who haven't checked out The Way of Mastery, check it out. It's on my Earl Purdy page on Facebook and also on YouTube. I got hundreds of classes on YouTube and on my website. Thursday, we do Hardcore Course in Miracles. At 7 p.m. is especially geared towards students of the course. Anybody can watch, but it's really aimed at those who feel the Course in Miracles is their path and they just want to learn as much as they can about it. And we get down. And then on Sunday, we have our Course in Miracles class where we are meeting live as well as online. So here's a quick review before we go out of here. You ready?
Yeah.
The first thing that you need to realize is that Holy Spirit knows more than you do. And Holy Spirit is just trying to make you equal to Holy Spirit. Love is just trying to make you equal to love. Our only mistake is we don't believe that we're perfect. We don't believe that we're whole. The Course in Miracles says that you need to make the decision that God's will for you is perfect happiness. That the only thing that your Creator wants for you is perfect happiness and perfect joy. Then the Course told us that we're going to be awakened, but we're going to be awakened by a gentle voice that's not going to frighten us. Love doesn't frighten us. It's just going to remind us that the light is come, the truth is come. How do you know that? Because you got the truth right in front of you in the form of A Course in Miracles. Love doesn't tell you that what you're going through is an illusion. It says what love does is just tell you you're safe right now. You're safe right now. You're safe right now. You're safe right now. Then he says God is going to teach us how to tell the difference between when we are asleep and when we are awake. Truth is going to teach us when we're practicing the truth and when we're in our ego. It's going to teach us that so that we will finally understand we don't need to be afraid of our ego. We don't need to be afraid of our fears. We don't need to be afraid of our dreams. I'll say it one more time. you don't have to be afraid of your ego. You stop being afraid of your ego because you are saved now. There's nothing your ego could possibly do to you. Who you are is beyond your ego's ability to hurt. You're going to get to the point that you're going to call on God and call on the truth to dispel all of your fears and all of your ego for yourself. And the Course is teaching you how to do that, how to tell the difference between the two. Then the Course says a wise teacher is going to tell you what to do and not what to avoid. It's going to say, just do this, do only that. Just do this, do only that. That's easily understood. He says what's easily understood is what's perfectly clear. So when you're hearing the truth, it's perfectly clear and it's perfectly simple. Then the last thing the Course tells us is that love never itemizes your errors. That love is never going to try to attack you. God is not going to attack you. Someone that loves you is not going to try to frighten you. And when you lack wisdom, what does that make you? A child. Then the Course says that God is going to always answer our call. That we're going to become more certain because we can depend on love. When there's real love, you can depend on it. That's how you can tell that it's real love, because you can depend on it. Then the Course told us we totally confuse what's true from what's not true. And that we don't know the difference, and that no matter what you do, love is going to heal you. God is going to help you. It doesn't matter what you're doing or what your fears are. That God is going to shine your fears away. That love is going to share and shine your fears away. That Spirit and love is always going to be telling you, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to wake up. And then we were told at the end that nothing lasting lies in dreams. And if it's not real, it cannot last. So fears by definition cannot last. Did you hear that? By definition, your guilt cannot last. By definition, lack and sickness and separation cannot last. Because anything that's not real cannot last. Be with that for a minute. So whatever is upsetting a person, you can be assured that it will never be permanent. There's no such thing as permanent pain. There's no such thing as permanent unhappiness. Because only happiness and joy and love is real. And the Holy Spirit brings that love to us from God. And the Holy Spirit speaks only for what lasts forever. So that's what the message was of that section. So I would love it if you would remember, if you got the book, to go back over the sections that we covered in the class, or at the very least, listen to the replay. So that what? You'll be able to tell the difference between the two. All right?
Yeah.
Those of you online, thank you so much for all the incredible comments that you were making in the communication. It's awesome to be with you. Hugs are available. May the Course be with you. I love you. I love you. Thanks for showing up today. I always like to see who the Holy Spirit brings. Woo! Boy, I needed that.
Yes, sir. Me too.
I needed that. I needed that. Mighty companion. See you next time.